Super Rugby quarterfinals, folks. All wins for the home sides in all of the quarterfinals, including the Reds and Crusaders, which is already up. Friday game, that one was. But for the Saturday games, like I said, 3 games, all pretty similar score lines for the home sides, 39, 35, 35. And then the closest one was the last one. But overall, like I said, all the home teams got through without too much drama. The Waratahs did threaten to give the Chiefs a bit of issues. The Highlanders early on, and the Hurricanes did have a lead, but none of them could really carry through. Chiefs and Waratahs, the first one from Hamilton. I mean, the Chiefs have got some pretty sweet plays, don't they? Some pretty sweet set plays. I mean, line-out move sets up Brad Weber for one. Jacobson goes through from a maul where they don't actually jump. You know, they've got just smart plays, which other sides seem to struggle with. And then they punish you when you make mistakes. I mean, the Waratahs were maybe a little bit too ambitious, chucking the ball around in their own 22. And Nankivell punishing with a try. Jacobson's the one who got the maul one. Brad Weber gets a couple. One of them was that line-out move that I was talking about. Solakula's one towards the end of the game from close range is just basically the nail in the coffin. I mean, Peach did get one back for the Waratahs and Harris in the second half. Maybe try the game. That one, turnover ball, Hooper up the field, and then Harris galloping towards the goal line. But yeah, did the Chiefs ever really look like losing this one? I don't think so. Not really. The Chiefs always looked pretty well in control. Ed Med missed a couple of penalties, which is maybe the occasion. I mean, run meters 176 to 164 at halftime, so pretty tight. But they were conceding a few penalties. By the end of the game, the penalty count's almost double, with the Tars having 11 to 6. They've knocked on 13 times to 6. So just those kind of key areas that if you're going to go into Hamilton, you can't be conceding double the penalties, and you can't be knocking the ball on that much. Chiefs have more possession and territory in the second half. So, yeah, for a quarterfinal, it wasn't too dramatic. But yeah, certainly got to give credit to the Chiefs, man. They are a pretty lethal team. And I'm sure the Crusaders will be watching some of those line-out moves, especially that the Chiefs have got up their sleeves because, like I say, they can really punish. Weber finishes with 40 run meters, a clean break of 2 defenders beaten. Jacobson, 11 from 13 tackles. Hooper makes 15 from 16, which is not a bad shift for the losing captain. And then 84 run meters for Harris. But yeah, wasn't the best game we've seen the Waratahs play, unfortunately. Like, you want them to bring their best A game for this knockout game. But nah, it was just kind of average stuff from them, and average is not going to get it done in Hamilton. The Chiefs were good without being phenomenal in their own right. They will have to up their game when they go away to the Crusaders. I reckon you have to be at about 90% to beat the Crusaders down there. And even if you are, you probably have to hope they're at 80%, which the Crusaders are often not. So, it sets up a very interesting semi-final in that one. The Blues and the Highlanders was the second one, which was looking tasty for about the first kind of 20 minutes until Makaleo gets red-carded. The game was looking tasty. The Blues looked a bit all at sea. Maybe the pressure of the occasion getting to them. Marty Banks kicked a 50-22. The Highlanders managed to kick a couple of penalties. The second one was actually during the red card. Akira Ioane did look to have scored a try from my Blues point of view, but the TMO said he couldn't find a grounding there because there was an on-field no try. Looked like a try, but anyway, couldn't find definitive evidence, so there we go. But Makaleo gets red carded. It's a pretty dumb one. Like, if you're not going to go with arms and someone's head's in the way, you're probably going to get yourself into all kinds of trouble. And sure enough, he got red carded. And that was maybe a turning point. I still think the Blues, based on their second half performance, would have found that extra gear because they did start a bit stifled. I do think they would have found their way, even without the red card, but certainly for the Highlanders, the red card didn't help. If the Highlanders had been able to take the scoreboard along, to put the Blues beyond a score, like make it a 2-score game, maybe you really start to get into their heads a bit more, but nah, it didn't really seem to be happening. There were a couple of injuries. Bryce Heem went off. Telma Sumanga Jensen went off. Aaron Smith didn't even make the starting 15. Neither did Dalton Papali'i. He had his appendix out, so Yeah, not ideal for either side in those terms. But I mean, the Blues, when they do find their gear, Akira Ioane does go over. His brother sets him up with one. The Blues are denied another one for a double movement, but then, I mean, they get one through Bodie, who ends up getting a couple. Perofeta sets up that one. So the Blues, when they find that extra gear, man, the Highlanders couldn't live with them. They didn't concede any points after that second penalty, which was on like 20-something minutes. So the Highlanders go pretty much an hour of rugby without being able to score a single point, whereas the Blues score 35 unanswered. So, yeah, Bodie was pretty sharp. He gets two. AJ Lamb comes on for him, and he gets one. And Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who maybe had his best game in a Blues jersey, he gets one. He is denied a try assist because he's the pass before the pass, but he's the guy who gets the line break, and it would kind of be a secondary assist if you were counting two passes before a try. He was finally able to get over the scoreboard, but yeah, man, Blues, too good. Looked a little bit shaky, as I said at the start, but too good. It'll add to the argument about the way the Super Rugby competition allows the 8th best team out of 12 teams to get into the knockout stages. Because, yeah, it wasn't really all that competitive. The scrum was good from the Highlanders. If you're looking for a bright side, Ethan de Groot was giving the Blues guys a bit of a torrid time. So, yeah, but overall, not much of a contest in the end. Run meters 551 to 350. Clean breaks 7-1. Defenders beaten 28-15. So the Blues dominate key stats. Perofeta 108 run meters, 5 defenders beaten. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck 7 defenders beaten. Adrian Choate stepping into Dalton's shoes, 13 from 14 tackles, not bad. Renton makes 13 from 13 in a losing shift, but yeah. I mean, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck even had a try-saving tackle on Dalwai in this one, so like I said, I think his best game in a Blues jersey, which is pleasing because of the nature of the occasion. The last one, I should say the Blues are going to play the Brumbies at home next. The last one, speaking of the Brumbies, 35 points to 25. The Brumbies did have to come back from 10 points down. And you would say they certainly ran the ship better in the second half than the Hurricanes did. The Hurricanes looked to lose their way a bit as the game went on, which is unfortunate because they started really well. I mean, penalties each way early, but Geordie Barrett just had the kicking boots on really well. He put them 6-3 up, and they just were able to dominate ball in hand, man. They got the first try through Morby, who gets a couple. They went like 17 phases and were just looking relentless. Geordie Barrett's cross kick for Morby was pinpoint accurate. And it goes to worse, gets from bad to worse for the Brumbies when Ikitau gets red carded for a high tackle. There's no mitigation in that one. Not the best look. And it's kind of a weird situation because the Hurricanes up for 3 instead of trying to really punish them. So it's 14-3, looking pretty comfortable. But then Franks gets yellow carded for a high tackle of his own on Lolesio. And like in terms of championship teams are able to find a way to take the most of those key moments. And that's what the Brumbies did, man. They ended up getting 2 tries during the yellow card period. Fighting guy from the maul and then Simone. Simone manages to beat Geordie Barrett. So, yeah, pleasing stuff from the Brumbies to end the yellow card. Well, they almost ended it in front, 15-14, but they conceded a penalty at the last kind of second. So it's 17-15. And then Morby does score one before half-time to give the Highlanders, the Hurricanes, a decent 22-15 lead. And even extended to 10 points on 42 minutes when Geordie kicks another penalty. So 25-15. I feel like that's a key moment. 42 minutes, you still got half the game to play. You got a 10-point lead. You're away from home. I don't know, man. Like, you can't shut up shop with that much game time to go. But I do feel like as it starts to piddle down with rain as well, the Brumbies just stepped it up in terms of their game management, eh? They kicked the penalty to bring it back a wee bit closer. Geordie Barrett loses those kicking boots, which have been so reliable thus far. He misses one. And then on 60 minutes, the Brumbies opt for another penalty. Not the maul, which was maybe a little bit surprising, but I guess keeping it closer, 25-21. And then Banks is able to go over on 64 minutes. So, like, just kind of snowballing, eh? Like, it felt like the momentum was just building and building and building. And that one was actually from the previous few phases. Morby kicked it out on the full, which is what kind of set the Brumbies up with field position. Whereas Morby in the first half had put in a real, a couple of, at least one real drilled kick, which was like kind of, top stuff. But yeah, not so much in the second. It just wasn't happening for them. It was bizarre. So yeah, that puts the Brumbies in front. Lolosio misses a penalty. Rayasi gets yellow carded after he charges the ball. He gets charged down and slaps the ball when he's on the ground. Not free to play the ball. But it's essentially when Tom Wright gets his try on 74, it's pretty much game, man. So 35-25, there's a bit of handbags. Neither side's liking that one. But yeah, ultimately, if you're a Canes fan, you'll be pretty disappointed with how the team just seemed to lose the momentum, lose the pressure from that Geordie Barrett penalty on 42 minutes. It just seemed to go off the ball. Whereas the Brumbies, on the flip side, your fans will be you'll be pretty chuffed with the way your team was just able to kind of wrestle back that lost momentum and just start turning the screws on the Hurricanes guys, eh? Position and territory, the position finishes slightly with the Canes, but the territory is well with the Brumbies, 63-37. Canes turnovers conceded 14 to the Brumbies 6. The Canes lineout also struggled a bit, 3 gone awry, whereas the Brumbies were at 100%. Samu, 45 run meters and was it 9 from 10 tackles? Yeah, good shift. Artie Savia makes 11 from 11, but not good enough. They'll be pretty disappointed. So, yeah, we do have an Aussie team in the semis, which I'm pretty pleased about, because I don't think it would have been a very good look for the competition if we had 4 Kiwi teams out of 5 making the final 4. So that's pleasing in that regard. Blues, Brumbies, semi-final, and Crusaders, Chiefs. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things go next week. But ultimately, all wins for the home sides in the quarters. Not sure who the form team is after this one. The Blues and the Crusaders, probably. But I would not be writing off either of the other two sides at all, because on their day it looks like anybody could really topple anyone. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. And we'll look forward to the semi-finals next week. You guys take care. Bye.